right, outside of the top 10, where is XX deck going on the rogue chart? Well, I'm here to answer that today. Well, the landscape for post-Hypernova, post-ban list, the cratering is here, and I'm here to answer what I think are going to be some rogue decks out here. First one we're going to talk about here is going to be Dinosaur. Listogasm just went to 3. That means that Dinosaurs got an upgrade. There's this very sarcastic question mark in my voice there, because I'm not too sure about this. I keep getting told that, Robbie, Dinosaurs are really good now, alright? I don't know, I feel like I get told that by every other random person that doesn't have an idea of what's going on in the confines of the format. It's not like, Misk has come back off of a list and that we're seeing, some new generation of, crazy dinosaur play. No, you're not seeing that right now. What you are seeing is the fact that players are looking at Listogasm right now. They're licking their lips and they're going, there is a possibility of something good happening here. And I will give that to you. I do think that for the most part that there is a highly likely chance that with everything that is going on here with the return of Dinosaurs in a slower format, obviously things could definitely be better. My other question here is with the best deck being a walking, talking Macrocosmo, and you not getting access to your graveyard in certain matchups, how much does that actually affect Dinosaur? The answer is a lot. Walking, talking Macrocosmo hurts this deck so much. And I think it's going to be the reason why you're not going to see this deck do as good. That's why I'm putting in the rogue category here. For the copium for players that really want to try to have this deck work out. So I want to see this deck succeed. I really, really do. And I mean that wholeheartedly. But Listogasm coming back, I don't think makes any difference whatsoever. Next up is going to be Scarecrow. Hey, I talk about that we see this deck show up every other, block. And I've kind of noticed something with this. Every time that we see this deck kind of pop up its head, people kind of look around and they're like, wow, being able to summon a whole bunch of dudes in defense mode, being able to make, a big Link 3 that can do something. Yeah, it looks pretty inviting. I'll give that to you. It's definitely a lot better than some of the other things that we've had going on previously in the format. But once again, you got to ask yourself, Kashtira being able to build some sort of board, being able to shift all those monsters to defensive mode actually kind of gives Scarecrow a chance. And you know what? I'm going to say it. You want to see things like that. You want to see matchups like that can actually make a difference out here, and you can actually see players step into the light and get the chance to do something with this deck. And it's had multiple levels of success in multiple past events, all right? we're not no strangers to seeing that we've had success out here with this, but I'm just unsure how this is going to, how with everything else that has gone rogue at this point in the generic shift, I'm not really sure how this is going to be able to handle that wave of metagame change. So it's going in the rogue category for now. It's where I've had it for quite some time, but this deck obviously has the chance to top regionals, and that's what's going to really give it the big push to really even keep up in the modern era. So if you're a Scarecrow player and you're like, Robbie, you just keep talking crap on my deck, I'm not talking crap. I like the deck a lot, but it needs the chance to do its thing. Next up is going to be Rika. Oh my gosh, plant good stuff. So best deck is a Macrocosmo deck. Possibility of getting your graveyard sealed off kind of hurts this deck. Your best floodgate is Ravery of Warlords. How many of the Kashtira monsters are psychic? Oh, a lot of them. Well, Arise Heart's a machine, so that definitely helps things out a little bit for you. But I'm just curious to know how you plan to handle that matchup. This deck was able to handle some of the other decks, but I don't think this deck has a good Minkanko matchup. I don't think this deck has a good Labyrinth match. Any deck that can, like, I feel like outgrind via the back row is not something that Rika really wants to deal with. We'll have to wait and see. I want to be proven wrong in that aspect. I want to see the possibility that this deck could possibly do something. That definitely, I think, could showcase a difference of things as we kind of go forward here, or the possibility that plants could take back off. But once again, I loop back to the question of, you know, how reliant are we on our graveyard? How much does our graveyard really dictate some of our end boards? And with everything that we are seeing here right now, you know, do you have a better chance than the other decks in the room? And honestly, I would put this like top 15, if that, but I don't think you have enough really oomph to get there. Once again, I want to be proven wrong. I want to see that there's a possibility that we could see something come out of this, but if you go first, Rika on Avalon is just the absolute gas at the end of the day. That's really all there is to it. So we'll wait and see. We'll be patient. Next up is going to be Spriggins. All right, so I really thought about putting this top 10. I really did. I thought that this... So, the one, with how Spriggins kind of set up, they can be susceptible to some boards. I'm not going to totally lie to you about that. Your Tally-Ho, Sargass, Board Clear, Search, you know, Extension, Monster Reborn, 9,000 level IQ board plays the really best thing that you got going for you. Obviously, you can search for, you know, Regulus along combo lines, and that can actually do something for you as well. But I feel like you're still Spriggins at the end of the day. You know, the rest of your card pool isn't necessarily that great, and that's kind of where my problem lies with this deck. I really want to give Spriggins the big push here, and I want to say, hey, you know, you can do something. You have the chance to be a metagame contender here. For Rogue, yes, I've seen a good couple of variations that have done things. I've actually seen the possibility that people are including a Sprite package in this deck because it gives the deck a little bit of an extra end board that you can toggle into. That's actually kind of cool to me at the end of the day, that, you know, a little splash Sprite package. You can play Cyberstein in this deck. Yeah, I've actually seen Cyberstein being able to make the exterior play that really can just put you in a massive position. So I really do think that this deck has some of the coolest lines of play going for it. But once again, I ask you, you know, what can we see here? What is the possibility of a return for this, you know, back to the localized metagame as a top 10? We'll have to wait and see. But if you're playing an event and you run into this deck, you better be prepared to play it. And then last but not least, I'm going to put the candy treats here. You know, they just lost some Ishizu cards. This deck keeps getting L's that I have only imagined to ever see in my dreams. But honestly, it's not bad. We're not in a position right now that we're seeing this deck, you know, in a totally bad position. Obviously, you know, Kashtira is going to be the death of this deck because it wants to see its graveyard. If this deck doesn't get the chance to engage with its graveyard, it's going to be a really bad time. And I do mean that wholeheartedly, because I love Madolche. I love everything that this deck attempts to do. I love the end boards that it wants to generate, but it just struggles when it loses, you know, more and more Earthbox pieces. So here's where I'm sitting with this right now. I think the deck is a semi-competent Rogue contender. I think that you can see this deck do what it wants to do, which is top a couple locals, which is good. All right, don't get me wrong. I mean, we've seen this deck actually in the midst of tier format actually be able to top some regionals. So it's not 100% unheard of out here that we can see that possibility in turnover actually happen. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing, you know, what these Rogue decks will actually be able to do here in the near future. So I'm going to ask you this. What do you guys think about the unpacking of these decks right now? What are you expecting? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I look forward to reading the comments, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace. Patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.